Hi friends, welcome to my office here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I'm hanging out here on my floor with you, a cup of very hot tea, and my PowerSheets. And you might be wondering, okay, it's April. Why are you drinking hot tea? Because here in North Carolina in April, sometimes there's snow. A freak snow day right at the beginning of April. And I have learned this lesson the hard way many times because I am an unlikely gardener. If we've never met, hello, my name is Lara. I'm so grateful you're here. You can find out so much more about me and really about how I can help you at laracasey.com, LARACASEY.com. But one thing you'll learn about me very quickly is that I love my garden. And I am a very unlikely gardener. So, unlikely gardener right here. Cheers to all of us that do not have green thumbs naturally. I have planted my garden way before the last freeze or frost warning. And I remember one year I had to go out there during a day like today when it's freezing cold in April and dig up all my tomato plants because a hard freeze was coming in April. Now, all my cold weather state friends, cheers to you. So you're not supposed to plant things here until after April 15th. That's the last date of frost. I'm not really here to talk about gardening, but we're going to get to that in a minute. I'm here to give you my update from March from my PowerSheets goals and to tell you what's ahead for April. However, there is something very exciting coming if you do want to learn about how to grow your own garden. If you have no green thumb, that's a bonus because I'm right there with you. But I have learned over time so much about gardening, about how to do it the easy way, how to get so much out of it too for my kids and my family. It's been marvelous, miraculous, and just so much fun. And I thought it was going to be so complex, and it's not. So if you want to learn about how to actually grow a garden, you can go to gardeningwithlara.com, and I have a live class that I'm going to be teaching to you on how to start your first garden or do your second one better, but mostly for those of us that are just like getting our toe in the water or our shovel in the dirt, if you will. So yeah, go on over there. I'm excited about that. But I am here. So good. Peach tea on a cold day. I'm here to give you my update from March. March was such a big month. March was, let's just talk about it. And I want you to tell me your things too. What happened for you in March? If we just zoom on to the next month, we miss so many gifts of retrospect when we look back. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my goal progress from March. And if you're new here, hello. This is my PowerSheets goal planner. And I'm using the 1-year goal planner, but you can get a PowerSheets goal planner, a 6-month undated set of PowerSheets in the Cultivate shop today. Shipping is so fast. It's easy. Go to cultivatewhatmatters.com. I'm getting so many domains confused in my head these days. But cultivatewhatmatters.com, grab yourself a set of 6-month undated PowerSheets and you can do what I'm doing here. So March. Here we go. In March was the month that my husband went viral. If you don't know what I'm talking about, long story short, my husband works at UNC Hospital, and he and his coworkers were just having a moment because, you know, they do really heavy, hard work. He mostly works with cancer patients, and they need a little levity in their days sometimes to be able to love on people really well. So they said, hey, I saw this thing online called the triangle dance. We should try that. It looks like fun. So they did the triangle dance, posted a video of it on Ari's Twitter, and it went viral. So it was fun. It was funny. And you can see that video. I mean, it's truly, you know, the top 9 on Instagram. It's going to be my most popular post on Instagram and had nothing to do with me. My husband, he wins for fun. But go over to my Instagram at instagram.com, and my Instagram name is Lara Casey, LARACASEY. You'll see it. Just 3 doctors have a little fun. So it's the month that my husband went viral. We celebrated our 13-year wedding anniversary at the Carolina Inn, which was such a delight and so wonderful. It is also the month that we did the Making Things Happen conference here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. That was just last week, and it was marvelous. I'll tell you all about that in a little bit. Okay, but it was really a month of making some really big leaps forward in my goals. So we do goal setting differently. If you're a PowerSheets user, you know this. We don't just set New Year's resolutions on January 1st. And if you did that, it's not too late to change your method and do things the right way, do things in a way that really works. We set cultivated goals. We take our time and we get asked the right questions. That's what this is right here. The PowerSheets are essentially a guided workbook to help you dig into the right questions, ask yourself the right questions, and give the right answers to help illuminate your path forward. You do the first section, which is called your PowerSheets prep, which I'll just flip through for you real quick. So you do your PowerSheets prep, which is a whole section in here, all these pages right here, guide you through uncovering what matters most to you. And then you make an action plan in the next section, and then you live it out with your monthly pages. So all these right here are the months of the year, and I'm going to skip over to March and show you what happened in March. Something I've been thinking about a lot is why I love power sheeting. Can I make that a word? Or why I love to power sheet. I really love it because I'll just phrase it this way. Do you ever get that feeling when you just feel like you need to have a good conversation with someone, like you have a lot on your mind, you wish there was someone that could just listen to you or ask you the right questions to help you sort through all your thoughts, to help you get from feeling like all the things are swirling in your mind to get to the right things, the things that matter most, to help to reset your mind in the right direction. That's what PowerSheets do for me. It is like my monthly coffee date with a trusted friend to get asked the right questions that lead me in the direction of where I want to be in the big picture when I'm 80, 90, or 100 years old. And it's just so helpful. Otherwise, I just do life the way I've always done it, and I get the same results I've always gotten, and that's not fun. All right, so this was my March tending list. And a tending list is the last page in your monthly sections each month that you record your monthly action items, your weekly action items, and your daily action items. And this doesn't come out of thin air, so you don't just open up your workbook and you put in these monthly, weekly, and daily action items. There are pages before this that help you to uncover what you should be focusing on for that month. And that's one of the other reasons I love it, is I have so much going on in my life between being a mom, running a business, and I'm sure you do too. There's so much in your life. You need a way to sort through all the things to get to the things that really matter. You can't do it all and do it well. I'm going to say that again to myself. You can't do it all and do it well. I very vividly remember when I first filled this out at the beginning of March, knowing that I had so much ahead for the month. I had the Making Things Happen conference with so many big projects that had to get done with work. So much progress I wanted to make with homeschool, so many good things I wanted to sow in our marriage and our family. And I was feeling a little overwhelmed. So my encouraging words for March were from a Bible verse, Psalm 52, verses 8 and 9. But I am like an olive tree flourishing in the house of God. I was a little worried I wasn't going to be flourishing in the house of God. So I was really trying to focus on the things that would help me to get there. So my top priority for March was to flourish in the house of God. I'm very grateful that I had that as a focus. And also my number one goal on my monthly action items was to listen to the Lord. I knew that there were big hiring decisions that we had to make, big product decisions we had to make. And again, so many family things too. We did in March. March was the month that we completed writing the 2020 PowerSheets, which for me is a very intensive process. It is listening to all of the stories and feedback and hearing from women on what is troubling them. Like, what are the pain points they're experiencing? How can we guide them to move through those things? So it took many, many days amidst a lot of other projects, but we did complete that, and I'm so grateful for that. All right, my next goal was to train leaders and pass on leadership. This has been a focus for me in my work, but I think is so applicable to so much of our lives. Again, we can't do it all and do it well. And I feel the same way, the same heart with my children, that I want to train them as leaders, train them to live in this world and use the gifts that God has given them on purpose instead of by accident. And so I'm really focusing right now on helping my team members to do that too. Next step is celebrate our anniversary at the Carolina Inn. You know, it can seem like a silly thing to put on your tending list maybe, and I'll just give you a little backstory. For me, knowing how many challenges we have had in our marriage over the years. And there are many places you can hear that story. In March, I was also so grateful to be on Jamie Ivy's Happy Hour podcast, and I shared a lot of our marriage story there, so you can go listen into the Happy Hour podcast for that. You can also listen to the first episode of my podcast. My husband Ari and I have an interview that we do together. You can find that at cultivateyourlife.com, or just look up the Cultivate Your Life podcast. And you can also find it, I was looking for a copy to give to you, to show you, but it's too far away for me to reach right now. You can read the Make It Happen book. Highly recommend reading that if you really want the in-depth story in our marriage. But because of that, and because of what I have learned in planning an intentional year and really stopping to celebrate the things I want to grow more of, this ended up on my tending list. Celebrate our anniversary at the Carolina Inn. And the Carolina Inn is just a very special place to us to begin with, which is a whole other story. But stopping and making much of moments where we get to celebrate God's faithfulness helps us to do more of that in the future. It's just like your goal, stopping and to celebrate your progress by marking it on your tending list little by little helps you to notice the progress that's happening and helps you to have motivation to make more happen. So we really do try to make much of those things, even if it feels inconvenient, even if it feels like, oh, I don't really know if I want to do this. For us, taking that night, and we've only been away from the kids like 2 nights ever. And that was one of them, but taking that time to stop and reflect, and it was awesome. It was just great. It's just really faith building. Okay, next up is plan a low maintenance garden. You can also, in that Jamie Ivy podcast from the Happy Hour podcast, hear more about the story of my neck. I have a neck injury that is making me have to make different choices in the garden. And it's actually been a huge blessing. There are things in life that just feel so difficult or painful or physically painful. And for me in this, as much as I've cried over it so much, and it's been very taxing on me, it's been a big blessing. And I'm choosing to see it as a blessing. And I know there are hard things too that are hard to choose to see as blessings when you're in them, and I get that. But for this one, planning a low maintenance garden because of my neck, I know I'm not going to be able to be out in the garden as much as I have been in the past, or as athletic as I have been in the past. And let me just say that gardening for me is like mini farming. It's not like some passive, put a little watering can on something. I get out there and I muscle in. I cultivate things. This is what we do, right? But it's actually been really good. The other part of this is one of my big picture goals for this year is to have a no-spend year, just to teach my heart and for Ari and I really learn how God wants us to steward our money, His money. And in that, I have been fasting from spending on things we really don't need. One of those things is gardening things. I really don't need gardening things, right? It's not a need. Food is a need. Gardening things, maybe not so much a need. But what's really sweet in this is I was praying about it and just trying to think of how can I cultivate the hearts of our children, which is another one of my big picture goals this year. I love watching them out in the garden. I love watching Grace just out there for hours at a time, just playing with her little fairy garden things and picking blooms. And Josh loves to dig in the dirt, and Sarah loves to just pull petals off of things and smell flowers. And I prayed about it, and I really felt like God said to me, it's okay, buy some seeds, plant proverbial seeds in their hearts in this too. And so a couple nights ago, I did spend some money. I spent $45 on seeds from my friend Erin at Florette Flowers, which if you've never been to their website, their seeds are just, so amazing. But I'm excited about that. And what's cool about having goals in general is it makes all the things that you're doing along the way so much more meaningful because they're connected to something that really matters to you in the big picture. You've taken time in your PowerSheets to really think through it. And so I feel like that was a very intentional decision. It was connected to something that really matters to me for when I'm going to be 80, 90, or 100, whatever the Lord has for me. So there was my long explanation of that, but very excited about planning a low maintenance garden and having my kiddos help out with some of that gardening. Okay, next up is bring MTH to life. MTH stands for Making Things Happen. It is our annual semi-annual, twice a year usually, conference here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And we have been doing this conference for almost 10 years. 10 years. This year is 10 years. Here's my MTH notebook from this time. And the conference was last week and it was spectacular. And I have something here I was going to open live for you. So I got a package in the mail from my friend Megan from All She Wrote Notes. She's the greatest. And I kind of knew what this was, but I haven't actually opened it yet, but I kind of know what it is and it makes me really excited. So Megan actually shares her story on the Cultivate Your Life podcast, the most recent episode. Go listen to it. It's titled, Why I Stopped Straightening My Hair. It's a much deeper reason than what you think. Why I stopped straightening my hair. My friends Ashley Adams and Megan Taylor, they share their stories of breaking their own identity boxes. And part of Megan's story is about how confetti is trash. It's just leftover scraps that people punched in and made something marvelous out of, and what a mirror that is to our own lives and to our own stories. It's a beautiful story. I'm summarizing it. You should go listen to the episode. Go to cultivateyourlife.com after this and listen to Why I Stopped Straightening My Hair, episode 12. Don't want to miss it. It is a life-changing story. But Megan, are you ready? Here we go. Megan sends me this box. And her, I just love her. I love it. She says, Lara, had to make sure you never forget your confetti moments, making your mess turn into your message. So thankful for you, Megan. And of course, she has the cutest handwriting. Also, just really love that she fully owns who she is. You should go follow her on Instagram too. Very into color and donkey piñatas. So why not, right? But I'm really excited to open this envelope. Here we go. My Megan, yes. So the story is that last week at the end of the Making Things Happen conference, we did something new that we've never done before, and it was marvelous. We had a celebration dinner after 2 days of uncovering what matters alongside 60 other women and really working hard and digging deep. We had this delicious meal at the Carolina Inn. It was beautiful. We had dancing and music, but you would probably look at the photographs of it and say, oh, it just looks like a really fun party. It was so much more. It was a celebration of life for us. And the ladies and I in my office, we ordered 20 confetti cannons. There's like an explosive warning on the side of them. They were the real deal. And I loved how it perfectly tied into Megan's story. And as that confetti shower was going down, I think all of us I'm going to have chills telling you, all of us just felt like, this is it. Our mess can become our message. We don't have to live perfectly in life. So Megan, she gathered up some of that confetti and she framed it for me. I might cry. This is the sweetest, probably the most meaningful gift I've ever gotten. I will never forget that night. I love you, Megan, so much. But y'all, go listen to her story. CultivateYourLife.com, episode 12. Love it. Donkey piñatas and all. Okay, but bring MTH to life. That was my goal. And I have to tell you, I did not bring that to life. God brought that to life. It was like it's so hard to explain to people what it was. But when you it's actually not that hard. When you spend 2 days with no phones and you speak truth over each other and women get together and there's no comparison and you are just in there uncovering all the layers of all the distractions in life, all the things that people said about who you should be or who you are supposed to be, and you get real with each other, it's magic. It's life. It's amazing. So there you go. Next, my monthly goal is live numbered days. Psalm 90:12 has been on my heart. And again, one of the blessings of having this neck injury has been, and it came through hard times of lots of facing the fact that if someone hit me in my neck from one angle, that could be it for me. I've had to think of those things. And I know there's so many worse things that could happen. But for me, it has been a gift of perspective. So Psalm 90:12, living numbered days. Also, my favorite episode of the podcast so far, by far, has been episode 8, how to number your days. Go and listen to that one also. I'm giving you lots of things to listen to. Your ears and your heart are going to be real happy. But I do hope that encourages you. It's the most popular episode of the podcast besides episode 1, how to number your days. Oh, and what Psalm 90:12 says, I should tell you that. Psalm 90:12, it is Moses saying, teach us to number our days so that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Teach us. And the summary of that is, teach us to know that life is short and it's a gift. Like, help us to use our days on purpose for what matters most. And I love that. All right, lastly is continue the contentment challenge. Like I said, I have 4 goals this year, one of which is to have a no spend year. And it's not just about this year, it really is a fast from spending on things we don't need as a way to reset our attitudes, hopefully for the rest of our lives, and to continue on this and to continue to learn God's heart for money and how we're supposed to use it. So continue the contentment challenge. My friend Nancy Wright, who's also one of the speakers from the Making Things Happen conference, she's an incredible woman with so much wiseness. Is that a word? Wisdom. There we go. Wisdom. So much wisdom. And she, after the Making Things Happen conference several years ago, she's been doing it with me for 10 years. Not 10 years, I'm sorry. She's been doing 10 conferences with me. I think that's right. No, 45 conferences? I don't remember. We've been doing this for so long together. But the point is, after Making Things Happen one year, she really felt like God was telling her to fast from spending for 3 months. And when we say spending on things you don't need, obviously you need to buy groceries and things. But even in that, being as lean as you can. And so I have been doing the Contentment Challenge as a way to begin this year and to begin this first season of 2019. And it's been really awesome. Really awesome. And the reason it's called Contentment Challenge is, I suppose, obvious, is that when you are grateful for the things that you have, it makes everything else feel so much sweeter. I could tell you so much more about that, but it's been good. Okay, next, my weekly action items. So I have on here weekly family Sabbath. So my husband is Jewish, and we have been trying to implement different practices that he grew up with, and it's just been so sweet. Lighting the candles on Friday evening, totally shutting down from any type of work after that. And I typically don't work on the weekends anyway, but even house projects, even just the attitude of my heart being pushed in the direction of truly resting in the Lord and really trusting Him that I could get one more thing done on Saturday. I could do a whole lot of house projects and do whatever I need, wrap birthday gifts, but I have to dedicate that day to just resting. So we literally don't make any plans. We do not go anywhere unless we're like going out to the park or outdoors or somewhere fun. And we just stay. And it's not all halos and sunbeams. Staying indoors with 3 children is sometimes very difficult. But in that, there are opportunities for us to have slow time to be able to use them as learning opportunities for all of us to grow deeper in our faith and in learning what it really means to rest. So there you go. Next up on the list is Sabbath study. Now, if I was reading this on my tending list, I would think to myself, oh, that sounds intense, Lara. You're studying the Sabbath. That sounds intense, and it's really not. Even a little bit of learning can go a whole long way. A tiny little seed can grow into something marvelous, and that's how I feel about this goal. Is I just touched lightly on little bits of whether it is looking up scriptures about Sabbath, and when I say scriptures, I mean like 1 or 2. It's really enough. 1 or 2 is enough to change my heart. And then I started an audio book called The Rest of God. I think that's the title, The Rest of God. And it's been good. Some parts of it have been really helpful. And I just listen for like 20 minutes when I can on the weekend. Because again, 3 kids, you just have to use these tiny little moments, but they really do matter. I don't have to do an exhaustive study on the Sabbath. And I will, of course, continue this for the rest of the year. But that's my other goal. Out of my 4 goals, no spend year, cultivate the hearts of my children, have a year of family Sabbath, and also cultivate my heart with God, which I will tell you about my new goals in a minute. Okay, Ari and I are reading Letters to the Church by Francis Chan, and it has been fantastic. Really good book, highly recommend. Make Margin Happen. I knew that this was going to be a challenging month with so much going on, and so in the principles that I have learned, and again, planning a cultivated year, I call it planning a cultivated calendar. You can also go listen to the podcast episode called How to Plan Your Year, and I did that episode alongside my friend Sally Clarkson, just giving you 6 principles on how to do that, and it's really simple. It's not rocket science. Actually, it's just 3 principles. But one thing is looking ahead and knowing in seasons that are going to be challenging, seasons that you know are going to be full, to try to plan margin where you can. Doesn't mean you have to plan a vacation necessarily, but just knowing like, okay, I'm going to have a full couple of weeks here. Maybe I shouldn't plan to go to birthday parties on the weekend or outings with friends or social things, whatever it is. Just knowing ahead of time and loving yourself ahead of time. So we did that. Make margin happen. We knew that this was going to be a big month, and so ahead of time we decided to go on a little road trip, like a local road trip with the kids after the Making Things Happen conference last week and after my husband was traveling too. And we just went to the mountains, and it was great. It's easy. It's like free to go and hike in different places, and so it was very helpful. All right, next up. You guys, I wrote train for the Tar Heel 10K. I'm laughing because I said to Ari late night in bed one night, I said, one of my goals is I'm going to be training for the Tar Heel 10K too. And because he is doing that. And he said, 10K, it's the 10 miler. It's a little different. So none of y'all checked me on that fact. But then I looked up how long it takes to run 10 miles. And I decided, you are allowed to pivot on your goals. I decided that spending an hour and 45 minutes running was not the best use of my time on a Saturday. That I would rather, because of my goal to cultivate the hearts of our children, I would rather spend time with the kids. I'm going to do my own like 1K, 2K, something K here in the neighborhood, and we're going to walk with the stroller. But I did mark progress on that every single week because I have been running. And I told y'all some of y'all this last time, and it still holds true. I run in my house because it's winter. Well, it's not winter anymore, but it was very cold. It is very cold today. I literally put my little headphones in while the kids are playing, and I have to, go run back and forth and watch them. But I literally run the stairs in my house. I jog in my living room. I'm sure my neighbors think I'm crazy, but I'm getting a workout. There you go. Okay, so moving on. Speaking of, 10,000 steps is on my list. In knowing ahead of time, this is the beauty of PowerSheets, is there's this whole page. I'll show you my page from this month. There's a whole page where you lay out the things that are on your calendar so that you have a good bird's eye view of what's ahead. It's not rocket science, but look at this. Right here, this is my page. You just put in, on my calendar, important to-dos, things I'm excited for. There you go. And I laid that stuff out, and I knew that I was going to need, let me go back to March. Because I filled that out, I knew that I was going to need to take care of my body, that I was going to need to move, that it would be really easy for me in writing the 2020 PowerSheets and doing so much work this month to be sedentary. And if I was sedentary, it wasn't going to turn out very well. I was probably going to be really depressed. So I decided that every day in the month of March, I was going to get 10,000 steps on my little Fitbit, right? And there were many nights when I was jogging in place before bed. Yep, sure were. But I did it, minus 4 days where I was sick. And I'm very grateful I did that. That really was, again, a little intentional forethought goes a whole long way. Okay, next up is eat more raw veggies. Again, knew that I would need to have forethought there to take care of myself. Next is write the word. Now you'll see this one is kind of peppered in here. This is the magic of cultivating what matters. Is that traditional goal setting would tell you that this progress, 10 days out of the month, 10 days out of however many we had this month, 31, most people would say, oh, that's not progress. You only did it 10 days. I say the opposite. You did it 10 days. That's 10 days of being in the Word, 10 days of pouring my heart out to God that I wouldn't have had otherwise had I not had this reminder. So little by little progress really does add up. No matter how many days you do, you could have checked off 2 boxes, and guess what? You win. You should celebrate that. All right, next up, Bible reading. Definitely my number one goal this year, always, every year, is to grow closer with God. And so I really do prioritize that. It's the thing that I have to do no matter what. I typically in the morning read it on the YouVersion Bible app, which is free. I'm reading with a group of friends too, part friends from church and part friends from just friends. And it's been really awesome, really awesome. Okay, lastly, scripture over scroll. I put this one on here because I really feel like the month of March is a month to clear the distractions. We talked about that a lot last month, right? Clearing the distractions so that you can plant new things in the seasons ahead. And so I felt myself really struggling with this at some times. Like you'll see, I didn't mark progress perfectly on all these little boxes, but definitely felt myself struggling with this at times. And I think it's just the awareness. Really, this tending list right here is all about noticing. Otherwise, I wouldn't notice. Otherwise, I wouldn't check in on these things. And so I'm very grateful for the reminder to notice where my eyes and where my heart are focused and where this should be focused. Okay, moving on to the next month. Right before the month of April in the PowerSheets, there is the spring goal refresh, and it starts with the clear the clutter checklist. And man, I love this so much. Also, you do your social media mission statement. This is mine, and this is actually new for me. I had one that was different before, but I really feel like my social media mission statement is what it is in real life, which is make disciples. So there you go. And then the next page is in the spring refresh, which let me explain real quick. Why do a spring goal refresh? First of all, have you felt frustrated at all with your progress or lack of progress in this beginning part of the year? Maybe the first 90 days of the year have been difficult for you, or a time of transition or unexpected change in your life. And if you're there, or maybe you're feeling like, I feel like restless, like, okay, first 90 days I made some progress on my goals, but now I'm starting to feel this restlessness. What you're feeling is totally natural. Our minds can only focus on one thing intently for 90 days. They have a capacity, just like everything else in life. There is a capacity to our focus. So every 90 days, it is a perfect window of opportunity for you to focus on something new. That's why we have the seasons. And I really feel like God shows us this, that we can't do 2 springs in a row. It's impossible. My flowers outside can't grow for more than sometimes 2 or 3 seasons in a row. They need the season of winter to rest, to go dormant. The bulbs in my yard, they literally have to have winter in order to store up enough energy to grow in the spring. They have to. That's why in my mom's hometown of Pensacola, Florida, they don't have tulips. They don't have bulbs because it doesn't get cold enough there. So let that teach you something, that you need the seasons. And every 90 days, that's why we get this restlessness, this feeling of, man, I feel like something needs to change or something's not right. You're right. It's time to shake up your goals. Every 90 days, we refresh our goals in the PowerSheets. You get a goal refresh. It's super simple. It's only like 3 or 4 pages long. Took me all of like 6 or 7 minutes to do this, and it was so enlightening. I came to this page, which is the Cultivated Life Evaluation. And at first I thought to myself, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know how much progress I've made on these things. As I did it, I was shocked. I'll just tell you about one box here. The finance box, as I filled out my rating, you rate each area of your life from 1 to 10. These are just suggested key areas of life, and you write out why you gave it that rating, and then after you write that, you write what you're saying yes to and no to based on that rating in the months ahead. And I realized in doing this, and you'll see that I put a 9 here. It's not to say that I have reached a destination that's perfect. It's just that the things I did want God to work on me in, they happened more than I could ever have imagined because of that relentless focus I've had in my PowerSheets. And so I gave it a 9, finances. And this has been the box that has been the lowest for me historically. So I had to put so much progress here. Praise the Lord for this heart change. I'm saying yes to giving sacrificially. I'm saying no to my comfort zone. Noticing your progress. Again, that's what these PowerSheets help you to do. It's like when you meet with a friend and you have a great conversation about where you are in life and you realize, oh wow, I guess a lot of good things did happen in a season that felt tumultuous and so difficult, which truly this last season did feel that way for me. So much hard stuff, but I'm grateful to be able to count the fruit. It's been good. Okay, moving on. I rewrote, in your goal refresh, you get an opportunity to rewrite your goals. You can either write it in the same words that you did at the beginning of the year, or you get an opportunity to refresh the words to maybe mean more to you in the next season ahead, or write new goals. Again, as we grow and change, so do our goals. So here are my refreshed 2019 goals, and I'll read these out to you. And these are the same goals, but with a deeper heart. All right, number 1 is to turn my heart to God. And I put the verse, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also, because our hearts follow our treasure. We put our money where our mouth is kind of feeling. So in other words, if I treasure the word, my heart will follow. My heart will be changed. If I treasure reading the Bible over scrolling on Instagram, that's probably going to change my heart in that direction. And so sometimes you have to take action on something before you feel it, before it takes root. We usually think about it the other way around. We think our heart has to change first before our actions change. All right, next step is our no-spend year. Live a faithful life over a comfortable life. And then love, okay, what does it say? I'm reading backwards. Lead our children to real life, the living word, slow connected moments to experience him. This is something that hit me at the Making Things Happen conference. I realized, and my Bible is kind of out of reach. I realized that real life is, for me, is actually in the word. I hope this concept makes sense, but it is. Real life is there. It's not even in my home. It's not even in my marriage. Real life is with God. And that was just a cool realization for me. It's just true. The word is alive. So leading our children to places where they can experience his word and him, whether that means very practically going outside and looking out at the flowers blooming in my yard and saying, look at what God made. It's amazing. Just leading them to those places for them to experience that. Okay. And then lastly, be transformed by the renewing of our minds, the year of Sabbath. So those are my refreshed goals. And I'm very grateful for that refresh. Moving on to April. All right, moving on to April. This is my April tending list, after again having gone through all the guided worksheets that led me to these monthly, weekly, and daily action items. You can read more about them in the blog post that corresponds with this video at laracasey.com/blog. But here we go, real quick. I have pray over everything, ask God. I tend to just think, oh, this seems like the right decision, but I need to ask him. Why not? Do my MTH action items. So something we get at the MTH conference is this guided workbook here, which has been so awesome. I need to do my action items. Make our home come alive. Alive is a word that just keeps coming to mind, like I mentioned with the word being alive. And then I'm excited about this one. I mentioned it before, Gardening 101 live class, which you can go to gardeningwithlara.com. So pumped about that. Plant our garden and train leaders. Now you'll notice I used hearts this time instead of my normal color coding dots, because why not? The goal setting sticker book has our signature goal setting system, our color coding system, sorry. So it explains it all in here. It's so easy, but essentially you take a sticker, whether it is a heart or a dot, and you color code your goals. So I know that all of the yellows are part of my goal of cultivating the hearts of our children, of leading them to experience God in our home. And the goals that are hot pink, those are the ones that have to do with my heart, whether that's my physical heart, my heart towards God, putting my treasure where it's supposed to be. So there you go. I have continued goals here of reading Letters to the Church with Ari, singing for joy to the Lord, read lovely words to our kids. I think reading is so important in our home. Sabbath again, and pray for the Lord to use us to meet needs. And you'll see that that's got the sticker for our no spend year. Just God, please open up those opportunities for us. And then lastly, and this is really the most important section, is your daily goals, because these are habits that add up over time to a whole new life, a whole new way of living. So I have my daily goals here: Bible reading, sleep. I need to just sleep more. Write the word. What did I say here? Analog evenings. Yes. So even if I'm doing something good on my phone at night, whether it's like reading the word or like writing an email to a friend, whatever, I need to not be on my phone. So I'm going to try to do analog evenings. I have so many great books that are sitting by my nightstand. I have a great husband that sits next to me. I have so many good things I can do, like writing the word at night. And so speaking of, we have also working it out, and also write the word is on there. There's so many good things I can do at night. It's just you just have to look at it as exchanges. What could 15 minutes even of time not scrolling on my phone or doing anything on my phone, what could that be invested in that would pay a bigger return in the hearts of other people? I could be praying for friends instead of being on my phone researching something. You know, I tend to research a lot of things. So that is my tending list for April. Okay, things that I need to tell you at the end here. I have this huge stack of wonderful books that dear friends have written, and I want to tell you just quickly about a few of them. We'll start, and these are in no particular order. My friend Catherine Park, she wrote a great book on preparing for marriage too, but her new book, Empowered. I love this title too, Empowered, How God Shaped 11 Women's Lives and Can Shape Yours Too. She's such a great writer, just a dear friend. So Catherine, I'm so proud of you. I'm excited to read this. This one, super pumped about. My friend Val Werner, who I've known for forever. She came to the very first Making Things Happen conference in Watercolor, Florida, a million years ago. Grumpy Mom takes a holiday, right? Doesn't that like kind of just sit with you like, yeah, the grumpy mom in me can sometimes really need a holiday. But anyway, I was just very grateful to have a few little snippets in the book and grateful to get to endorse this book and get an advanced copy. You should get this book. I love Val's heart. I love all that she does with her prayer journals. I've used them for years. So Grumpy Mom takes a holiday. A corresponding book with that is her new devotional, Fresh Start for Moms. Love this. Love, love, love this. Fresh Start for Moms, a 31 devotional journey to renew your joy. So Val, high fives, my friend. I know these have been like really hard work, and here I am telling you about books in like a really short format here, but I just have to say, writing a book is so hard. It just really is an all-consuming experience. And by the way, if you want to learn some of the things that I learned by accident and through the process of writing my own books, you can go to my blog at laracasey.com/blog, and I have a blog post for you on how to get started writing a book with lots of resources that I didn't know about when I first started, and I really wish I had. So hope that encourages you. But if you guys are in the middle of writing a book or have written a book, you rock. Really, it is such a hard thing to do. Love, love, love Emily P. Freeman, The Next Right Thing, a simple, soulful practice for making life decisions, and really excited to tell you that she's going to be on the podcast soon. Emily P. Freeman, very thoughtful, skilled writer too. I'm excited to read this one. Okay, last but certainly not least, my really dear friends, Jeremy and Audrey, wrote a Love Letter Life. Can't say enough good things about this book. I just love their hearts, love their story. This is awesome. Love Letter Life. I actually do have one more. Okay, we may have to go over in the other part of my office to get it. Yeah, come with me. All right, we're going to step over all my things. Here we go. Oh, I actually have several more. Okay, here we go. These are really good things. All right, really excited about this one. This is an uncorrected proof, but really excited when this one comes out. Okay, you ready? Lisa Jo Baker has a new book coming out called The Middle Matters. The Middle Matters. And I am particularly excited about this book because I'm turning 40 this year. So Lisa Jo Baker, thank you for writing this book. Very excited about it. I'm just going to read you a little bit from the back. It says, the middle is the place where we might have outgrown the shape of our teenage genes, but have finally grown into the shape of our souls. Those are some good words. So I'm really excited to read this one. Okay, now this is really the last but not least one, is Letters from a Big Sister. I've known Heather for a long time and just really excited that she put this book out with several really awesome contributors. If you're looking for something to equip teen girls, this is it. All these books, guys, you know that they didn't just appear out of thin air. All these books, whether it is a book for you or a project or a relationship or anything, or a little garden that you want to cultivate, they all start with one tiny seed. One little seed. Could be an email, could be saying words out loud, it could be saying yes, could be saying no, it could be writing 2 words down on a piece of paper. Anything. They all start with one tiny little seed, because I can guarantee you that all these books, I bet you all these people right here, they were scared to write these things, and they just kept saying to themselves, nope, little by little by little by little, I am going to cultivate what matters and get this particular story out to the world. And little by little by little, their steps added up, and yours can too. Find more at laracasey.com. You can look for all the notes from our PowerSheets time together today, laracasey.com/blog, and find the podcast at cultivateyourlife.com. And you can find me here next month. Thanks, guys.